Console, online. HPG connection, online. Educational module, online. All systems, nominal.
Hello, class, and welcome to On the Origin of Battlemechs Podcast, episode 98. I am your host, Brent Stewart. My co-hosts today are...
I'm Chandler.
And I'm Derek.
And today we are going to talk about the Goliath, a 80-ton quad mech.
It's a quad mech. It's a very nice quad mech. It do things. It mech it up.
Meh.
So the Goliath is a early quad mech, and so is it any surprise that its creator is Dr. Harrison? While continuing on at Brigadier Corporation and learning from the Scorpion and Xanthos, he refined the quad design to be elegant, if over-designed. The design was respectable but flashy and too vulnerable to justify an SLDF contract. And so the Goliath line produced minimal numbers and justified its continual operation to slowly recoup its investments by selling units to the House military and the periphery kingdoms. While its actuator system proved to be exposed and thus vulnerable, its targeting system allowed for superb multi-target engagement, and the machine is designed for long-range support. The machine started to garner Star League interest just in time for the Ameris coup and the subsequent civil war to destroy the production line on Oliver. The machine was resurrected and sustained by Korean enterprises on Stuart during the Third Succession War, and Defiance would produce replacement parts and upgrade kits. The Goliath is by no means a perfect design, but it does improve heavily on its predecessors. Sadly, it is likely the negative association created or influenced the poor sales, resulting in the refinement stagnation. Some notable units were formed or reformed from Star League caches of Goliaths, but mainly they can be found as one-offs in mixed units as its average speed matches that of the ground vehicles, and mostly in the periphery. The machine struggles in close combat engagements early in its model iteration, but as combat unit density decreased, the need for the machine to be more self-reliant forced standard refits and new models. The Goliath never disappeared and never became common, but it has always been around. A good metric is the fact that the first logged Goliath versus Goliath combat encounter happened in 2950 on Ride, just shy of 3 centuries between the first model and the first 1v1 combat. Towering on the battlefield with its impressive height and firepower, the Goliath is a hardpoint on the battlefield you should respect.
The irony of the first Goliath on Goliath action being on a planet called Ride.
And 300 years after it was built.
I mean, that part's just sad.
Yeah, it kind of is.
But the fact that it's a quad mech and it's on a planet called Ride. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Nah.
Take that, Hell's Horses.
Oh dear.
So it's got the design quirks of multi-track and exposed actuators.
For now. It gets fancy new ones.
So the first model is the GOL-1H, seen in 2652, and it has a movement profile of 4.6. It's got a LRM-10 in the right torso, a machine gun, and a PPC also in the right torso. And then in the left torso, it's got a machine gun and an LRM-10. It has 1 ton of ammo for the machine guns in the left torso, and 2 tons of ammo for the LRM in the center torso. It's got 17 single heat sinks, and for its era, it is a not bad quad mech, I think. It's 80 tons, so it's slow, but in the right situation, like moving defensively or as a garrison unit, like this would be very strong, and the ability to sidestep into, channels for field of fire would be very strong.
I mean, you say it's slow, but it moves 4.6, which is faster than most other assault mechs of that era.
This is true. I'm just spoiled by the Omni-mechs, right?
Yeah, I mean, the clans throw a wrench into everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's what they do.
This thing is basically just a giant siege tank.
Mm-hmm. I am curious to see whether this gets the new quirks that the new Goliaths have gotten in the recognition guides, since this is, I would think, supposed to also be represented by the new art from the Kickstarter. Or not from the Kickstarter, but from the recognition guides.
Well, the 1H I have is from 39 upgrades.
Yes.
So, but it is the original. The recognition guides quickly bring out the new models very quickly, but not quite yet. We still got to go back into the back of the archives for the first model.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I wonder whether retroactively this is going to get the quirks that the new ones have, since this is supposed to be representing. I would assume that this is going to be represented by that same model.
Yes.
Probably.
So it would theoretically get the directional torso twist quirk in the future. But until then...
I was going to ask you to explicitly state what they were because you had alluded to them twice now.
I'm here to allude to things and never talk about them.
True.
But yeah, directional torso twist, this would probably be the 2 PPC, or the PPC, not the 2 PPCs, it only has one.
Mm-hmm.
And it just is like a built-in turret. That's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
And it can get jammed real easy.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, machine guns for dealing with infantry, because it's that kind of era. It's got 2 LRM-10s, it's got a PPC, it can handle the heat okay.
Relatively well.
Yeah.
For the era, it's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Good entry level, like the quad mechs still, I've stated before in pretty much every episode, I think quad mechs really shine in like the medium bracket where they can take advantage of their mobility special rules. So the 80-ton, while moving fast at 4.6, is not able to, I think, really hit that sweet spot.
Yeah. I think they'll also shine at the 100-ton bracket just because you could slab just absurd amounts of armor on them.
Like the turtle.
Like the turtle or the Xanthos, when we talk about the Xanthos. Like, quad mechs inherently can hold more armor. But being able to put absurd amounts of armor on a quad mech is nice.
Yeah.
And having the sidestep helps alleviate the 3-5 movement that a lot of 100-ton mechs have.
Fair. Well, the 1H has a battle value of 1449 and a point value of 39. It is followed up about 400 years later by the 3M in 3047, and it has a movement profile of 4.6. It's got a machine gun in the center torso. It's got a Gauss rifle and an LRM-10 in the right torso, and an LRM-10 and a machine gun in the left torso.
Yep.
And it's got an XL engine. It's got 2 tons of machine gun ammo and 2 tons of LRM ammo, both in the left torso, protected by a case, 1 ton of Gauss rifle in the center torso, and that's 17 single heat sinks, so it can definitely, this is a much cooler running machine, but a little excessive on that machine gun ammo, and the XL engine makes it a little fragile, but other than that, I think it's quite good.
Yeah, it has case. So
Kinda wish it only had a 1-ton thing of machine gun ammo at most.
Yeah.
Especially since it only has 1 ton of Gauss rifle ammo. Like,
You could swap that.
Ugh.
yeah.
You could even just drop the machine gun ammo down to just a 1/2 ton and give yourself another ton of Gauss rifle ammo and then put another 1/2 ton of armor on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still has pretty good armor.
Yeah, but more.
This is heat efficient enough that you could even just put 2 small lasers on it and you would not care or need to worry about it. Even medium lasers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're really using those once they get inside the minimum range of your LRM-10s. And standard medium lasers have less heat than a LRM-10. So you become more heat effective.
True.
You get that sweet bracket from 6 till 7 where you're in the minimum range of your LRMs, you in the minimum range of your Gauss rifle, and you're in the maximum range of your medium lasers, and you can just go ham. And considering you would have, that would be completely heat neutral at 17 single heat sinks, because you would have, assuming the balancing of equal sides, 7 from the LRM-10 and medium laser on each, so that's 14, 15 with the Gauss rifle, and then 2 for running, 17.
It's not bad. An excessive amount of machine gun ammo.
We're griping about machine gun ammo, and I think part of the reason is it comes out in 3047, when toads are about to show up.
Yeah, but they don't know toads are about to show up.
Yeah, they don't know that.
I know, and that's why it's sad.
Yeah, but for the era it's being designed to fight in, or the war essentially, which would be like 4 Succession War era, it's actually a pretty good support platform for
yes.
most units.
Especially the perforate, this is strong. This is quite strong.
Well, this is a Merrick unit, so
M for Merrick.
M for Merrick. But overall, I think for any unit using this, especially an assault company or a heavy company, this is a really nice heavy support fire platform that you can base any assault off of or defense off of, because it's just going to basically act as a pillbox of firing LRMs and Gauss rifles while you kind of screen in front of it, so it can just start murdering things. But I think its biggest problem, though, is, clan elementals show up and start ripping people out of their cockpits. It's a rather emotional experience, but I still think that for like Fourth Succession War era or War 39 era, like this is a pretty solid mech.
No, it's very, very good, which is reflected in the fact that it bumps up about 90 BV to 1537, although the PV drops by 2 down to 37. But that's the XL engine, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
probably.
It's the XL engine, because you lose structure points. You become less tanky.
So it is followed up 5 years later by the 3M2 in 3052. Has a movement profile of 4.6. It's got an LRM-10 and small pulse laser in the left torso, a Gauss rifle and an LRM-10 in the right torso, and a small pulse laser in the center torso. It's got that XL engine. It's got case to protect the 3 tons of ammo in the left torso, even though only 2 of them are explosives, specifically the LRM-10 and the single ton of Gauss ammo. So this is basically exactly what we just requested, except small pulse lasers instead of medium lasers.
Yeah. Which, if you're facing off against battle armor, the small pulse lasers are probably better anyway.
True.
Yeah, it's an upgrade.
Ease upgrade, less ammo to explode.
Less ammo to explode.
Yes, and more Gauss.
More Gauss.
And also new art. So we have had the like classic old school line art, which kind of looks like they put legs on a tank.
That's literally what it looks like.
And the knees are kind of like double jointed, and the tank turret is extra bulky.
Extra chunk.
It looks chunk. Like he's been lifting.
He has been lifting. And
then the 3M kind of like has it from a different perspective. The legs look a little less long and distended and are a little thicker and more robust, but still like tank with legs.
Yeah, it kind of firms it up and makes it a bit more feasible to, its leg doesn't just snap off as soon as it gets shot.
Yeah. And then we have the like redesign art, which is very industrial looking and kind of integrates the legs into the tank, so it's less of a tank with legs and more of a like blocky body, kind of like more Star Wars Walker with the head kind of integrated and shoved up with a turret on top of the whole thing. Is that a fair way to describe it?
Yeah. With its Highlander head for a cockpit.
That's just a cowl. Like, let's be real, that's just a cowl.
I will call it a Highlander head until
it's a Highlander head.
It's a Highlander
fair. It's iconic. I'm not going to disagree.
It's just another reason for me not to like the new art of the Goliath.
Don't like it?
Nope, I'm a Project Phoenix boy.
That's fair, which we will talk to when we get to it in a little bit.
I mean, it's good art. I just really like the Project Phoenix.
I'm looking at Project Phoenix. I would rather have that than you.
Oh no, yeah, and I don't. Or would you rather have the recognition guide?
The new art.
Yeah. And I don't blame you. Like, it's definitely much more the classic Goliath look.
Art subjective? Opinions? No.
My opinion is not subjective. It is truth.
So
Craig backs me up on this one. Right, Craig? Right?
Of course, brother Chandler. You are speaking the truth of...
Error.
Yeah, so the 3M2 has a battle value of 1631 and a point value of 38. So, upgrade. Woo.
Hooray.
It is followed up by the 3S in 3066. And the 3S has that Project Phoenix art. It's got that movement profile of 4.6. It's got an ER medium laser in the head, an ER large laser in the center torso, a LRM-10 in the right torso. In the front left leg, it's got an ER medium laser, and in the left front leg, it's got a medium laser, and in the rear left leg and the left torso, it has an LB-20X AC.
Yes.
It's got 10 double heatsinks.
Don't ask me how. Don't ask me how the right left leg and the left torso have it's the rear left leg. My apologies.
It works. Just don't worry about
it. Don't question the space magic.
Yeah, like there's that Victor that has the
Is it the heavy Gauss?
So it's either the Gauss or like Ultra AC, and like one slot is the left torso and everything else is in the arm because retrofit. I like the idea of like we somehow have like disconnected this part of the loading mechanism to like connect on the other side of the mech's torso to then hot wire magic ammo feed belt in through the joint, through the rest of the arm down to the gun. It's dumb and I love it.
When you think about it, it makes perfect sense.
Sure.
But
Anyway.
this is over the top and ridiculous because it is all over the place and shoving parts everywhere and putting those ER medium lasers in the front legs is goofy.
I always wish they were kind of more on the knee, kind of like how Hector has its leg lasers.
Yeah.
Just because then they could be like on little swivels.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the 3S. It's fun. It goes 4.6 with a light engine, which is nice, especially with a quad mech. Unfortunately, you can't get endo steel in there because endo steel takes up way too much freaking space for a quad mech.
Somebody just looked at this thing and was like, how many heavy weapons can we just shove onto it?
Yeah.
That's literally
it's
the
got
design
it's got
philosophy
3
here.
heavy weapons.
Yeah. I know, I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, somebody was just like, let's shove as many heavy weapons in. Oh, these ER lasers are cool too, so let's shove them on there.
Hey,
I mean,
no one ever said the Lyrans were subtle.
That's true. I guess, I mean, with the LBX, especially with 4 ammo, like you can do 2 tons of solid, 2 tons of cluster, and just make this thing the ultimate, like, make elementals sad, which are going to make elementals sad pretty effectively with this thing. So,
yep.
But even then, like, then they looked at it and were like, well, we can make elementals sad, but let's make other things sad too. So here's some ER lasers and an LRM-10 with Artemis.
Yeah, it's got a very eclectic loadout. It's very it's very Civil War is what it is.
You're not wrong.
And then let's cook the pilot. Yeah, you got that going for you.
Yeah,
what else do you have pilots for but to cook?
You're overheat by 17.
Yeah, this is a toasty boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get warm and warm real fast.
I mean, it also has the new art, which looks kind of
the
different.
Phoenix art,
yeah. So it makes the legs kind of both go in, so it kind of makes it look more canine to me, I guess. I don't know. As well as like having the head kind of jet out as opposed to being more up, and just kind of has the weapons mounted on top of its broad back.
I like it. I really like the cockpit. It's not the Project Phoenix art that sold me on this era of design. It's the what's that TRO 3085? Yeah, 3085 and the Goliath Seas art that sold me on it.
Which we will talk about next episode.
Yes.
And is actually going to get its own little write-up at the beginning of the episode because the C only appears in that episode, and so it gets a little write-up of its own there.
Aww.
Because the Goliath C has some interesting notes about it, at least politically, which are worth having a little gab about.
Aww.
Yay!
But anyway, this guy's got a light engine. It's got all kinds of stuff. It's got 2 tons of ammo for slug and 2 tons for cluster, giving it 20 shots with the LB-20. It's got 2 tons of ammo for the Artemis 10 LRM, so 24 salvos. So, you know, it's got some sustainability. It's just kind of spread all over the place, and, you know, that light engine makes it a little fragile, but not as bad as an XL. All that ammo is protected by case. Yeah, this is interesting and kind of like, how much stuff can we shove in here?
I mean, with the light engine, you can have all of your ammo explode since you have case, and it can still function.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be missing a leg, but it'll still function.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I mean,
yeah.
Could be worse.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
So it's got a battle value of 1828 and a point value of 37. Keeping that tradition of the BV going up and the PV kind of fluctuating up and down. It is followed up a year later by the 2H in 3067, which has, again, the Project Phoenix art. And this one kind of is got missile pods wrapped around it.
It is missile hell.
It is madness.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. It's got a 4/6 movement profile. It's got an LRM-10 in the right torso, as well as that PPC in a return to form of the H series. And then it's got 3 rocket launcher 10s in the right torso as well. And the left torso's got an LRM-10 and 3 rocket launcher 10s in the left torso. It's got 17 single heat sinks. It's got Pharaoh. Yeah, so rocket launchers are a thing. They do one shot and you're done. They're cheap, they're light, they're scary, but they don't have a lot of sustainability, and so they have a shorter range. So this is if something gets close and you just go, nope.
Yeah, I'm. This is a periphery mech. That's really all I can say on that.
It's H for hegemony.
Well, yeah, but it's used largely by the periphery. So it's essentially a rocket launcher 60.
Mm-hmm. The 2 tons of LRM ammo are in the center torso, by the way.
Oh yeah, there's that. I mean, the one thing I have is this thing gets hit and one of those things goes off. It's the whole barn goes up and everyone dies.
Just everyone. You die, the person next to you dies.
Probably, yeah.
This mech is a ride or die mech.
Yeah.
Yep.
No one ever said the Marians didn't know what they were doing. Well, I did, because they don't know what they're doing. But
no, they don't, but,
they know what they want.
At least in this case, somebody decided that we're going to get a big explosion one way or the other.
Yeah. It is very strange that this is the first one with Pharaoh, though.
Yeah. Somebody decided to invest in Pharaoh.
So it's got a battle value of 1583 and a point value of 39, and it is goofy and probably something that a GM would run against you, unless you're like doing a one-off theme night or something. I don't know. It's silly.
I mean, it could be a really good, okay, I just need to go murder this enemy mech. And you just kind of walk it across the board and eventually gets in the rocket launcher range. And then the other mech just kind of disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you have to get there.
I mean, you still move 4/6. You just kind of hug cover and, wait till the moment is best.
Wait until that optimal moment to queue up the GIF of missiles, more missiles, all the missiles.
Yes, exactly.
The next one is the 4S, seen in the same year of 3067. It's got a movement profile of 4/6. It's got a heavy Gauss rifle in the center torso / left torso. It's got an ER medium laser in the right torso, and then a ER medium laser again in the right torso, so 2 of those bad boys. And an LRM-10 in the right torso. It's got 2 tons of ammo for it in the right torso protected by case. It's got a light engine, and it's got case in the left torso to protect that heavy Gauss rifle if it goes up. If the heavy Gauss rifle goes up, doesn't the chain reaction in the center torso also go?
Yes.
So the case there is kind of redundant?
Mostly.
On the left torso?
Mostly.
Okay.
It's just to make you feel better.
That's fair. It's got 10 double heat sinks. Heavy Gauss rifle is cool. I like Gauss rifle. Heavy Gauss rifle is a fun, specific tool for specific type of job things, but it is neat. The art is fantastic because it just giant rifle over the cockpit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you could ram someone with this when you're out of ammo.
The heavy Gauss rifle is a simple tool.
Speaking of ammo, the 4 tons of ammo are in the legs, specifically the rear ones, so 2 tons in each, so 16 shots total.
Not bad.
That's a lot of heavy Gauss shots.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing with this thing as a heavy Gauss platform is it's going to be stable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's not like your regular bipedal mechs that, would fall over in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know game rule wise how it would affect this, but I know reality wise, like, this would actually be a very stable gun platform.
Well, I mean, see the story of the Hunchback in the War of 3039, where they retrofitted it with a prototype Gauss rifle, and it was like throwing it out of whack, and they had to redistribute the armor, and the pilots would like lean against buildings and stuff to like brace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so game rules wise, you would just never have to actually take a PSR for firing the main gun.
Oh, that's nice.
Because you get the -2 to your rolls. You get the 2 bonus to your roll. So unless you give yourself a really bad pilot, Like, you're just never going to be able to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's good.
You do have to make the rolls, but they're basically an auto succeed.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're playing with someone who's making you roll auto succeeds, like, you've got bigger issues.
True. Yeah, in this case, I think I like it. It's a good long range kind of fire support platform, especially with the heavy Gauss. One gripe with this thing that I would have is if you're gonna put something like this into play, C3I.
Ooh, that's spicy. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good old
I usually
C3.
don't like to comment on like designs of being like, hey, if only you'd done this, it would be better. But like in this case, I think this mech is definitely C3I with this, just because of its weapons loadout. It would make it so much more effective.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're getting that targeting data to that heavy Gauss, and it goes from being a decent fire support platform with a nice big gun to a decent fire support platform that basically is sniping people with a heavy Gauss.
Mm-hmm. You don't get the damage to change, but the targeting data will help a lot. And still, that's 10 that you can plink away at, and that adds up, especially if you're also throwing LRMs at them.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought, is you go from being, you might hit with a heavy Gauss, you might not hit with a heavy Gauss, but then you're increasing that chance immensely. And heavy Gauss is hitting people at range is, especially once you get in the medium bracket, it gets scary. It gets scary real quick, like.
Yeah.
A good
This
GM
is one
would
of
be like,
those...
you need to make a morale roll now.
Yeah, because that thing is gonna cause some terror when it starts hitting people. So, I mean, that's my only complaint on it.
This is one of those C3 candidates where you give it a C3 slave, and it just kind of alternates between I'm receiving data to I am now giving the data.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just walks at the opponent.
Yeah. And both are good.
Either that, or
both
it just
are good.
sits in a really good firing spot and just snipes away. So
it has options.
Yeah.
We have options.
I mean, options generally are good.
Who doesn't like options, right?
I like options.
So the 4S has a battle value of 1912, or if you want to take the option of playing Alpha Strike, it has a point value of 41. So this is followed up by the last model of the episode, the 5D, in the same year of 3067. It's got a movement profile of 4.6. It's got an ER medium laser in the head. It's got 2 machine guns in the center torso. It's got 3 ER medium lasers in the right torso, as well as a targeting computer, a rotary AC-5 in the left torso, and then a machine gun rear facing in the rear leg, both left and right, so 1 in each. It's got 3 tons of ammo for that rack 5, so 60 shots. It's got 1 ton of ammo for the machine gun, all protected by case in the left torso. It's got 12 double heat sinks, which is good because those ER medium lasers will make you quite hot, and you can, I guess, kind of feather it up and down with your rotary AC-5 and your how many shots you want to do.
Yeah, the heat will add up quick, but
yeah,
I think you can handle it if you pay attention.
This seems like it would be a very powerful city fighter. Like this rounding a corner at, 6 hexes away, you're like, ah!
Yeah, this is, I like this.
I knew you would.
4 ER medium lasers, a targeting computer, and a rotary AC-5.
Yep. One, that it's a Davian design, but 2, because, I mean, you get that T-comp on there, a rotary, and 4 ER medium lasers. Like, you are making somebody's day very, very miserable very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And especially in knife fight conditions, like, this thing is deadly. Or even doing, like, an assault with this thing, because it can just use that rack and those ER medium lasers to just keep an enemy pinned down. Because I'm not going to try and pop my head out while somebody's spraying away with a rack at me. Because that's just a good way to get hit in the head and killed.
That's just a good way to die.
This is also the heaviest armored out of all of them.
Oh, yeah. I did notice that.
Yeah, it's got
and
max armor.
And it doesn't even have, like, Pharaoh or Endo or any of that. It's just
straight armor.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it has a standard engine. So...
yeah.
You're not worrying about some of the other ones where it's like side torso and boom, you're dead. It's like, nope, it's carrying all this armor and firepower without any additional. Like, its Alpha Strike card is scary.
I mean, it's got 12 slots, so, you could theoretically throw some sort of weight-saving upgrade in there even more so.
Yeah.
This is actually, I think, got a lot of potential for, like, upgrades and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I like a rotary AC5. It is quite good, and that targeting computer just makes it so spicy. Like, the only thing that makes it spicier is, like, a C3.
Yeah, but in this one, I say beggars can't be
Oh,
choosers.
I am not complaining. It's, I see you went with, the traditional smoky barbecue sauce instead of the, like, nice hickory. Both are fantastic, but why did you choose this one? It's like, oh, well, this cut of meat. It's like, I see,
Yeah, a fine kind of... A man of culture, you say.
Yes.
A fellow traveler.
I just wish that the T-Comp helped with getting more shots for the rotary on target.
Yeah, but
then you also, then it affects cluster and other weapons, and then it gets just kind of crazy.
Sorry, remind me, why doesn't it help with the rotary AC5?
It doesn't affect cluster rolls, so it'll help your base to hit.
Right.
But you still have to roll cluster to see how many shots actually hit.
Right.
yeah, but I mean, it still helps you get on target,
Yeah, it still helps you get at least one shot on.
so you can't really complain on that one.
Yeah. This is again. This is nitpicking and being, semantical and nitty gritty and the crunch, right?
Yeah,
like that,
true.
yeah.
So this guy's got a battle value of 1975 and a point value of 45. So that's why its Alpha Strike card is scary, because it earns it with a jump in points.
Pretty much. I mean, it's just gonna make you sad. It's gonna make you very sad.
Or maybe very happy if it's fighting for you.
Yeah, that is true.
So for our pilot profiles today, we are going to start off with Mech Warrior Warren Hestris. And Warren was a member of the 29th Lyran Guard and the victor of the first Goliath duel. While a skilled pilot, most of the attention has centered on his machine, much to his frustration. He served in the cockpit for many years, seeing the first Goliath duel in 2950 and fighting on Alnasi, Alnasi, Alsny, in the War of 3039.
Alsace-Lorraine?
In the interim, he racked up half a dozen confirmed kills, but was not above stomping on any would-be light, quote-unquote, Davids that would hope to exploit the Goliath's slow speed. Certain phrasing in certain documents implies that Warren was not the actual pilot of the Goliath duel, but merely the current pilot, but other documentation claims that he is. This, along with his long service record, have led some to believe that Warren is actually two people, a father and son with the same name, but due to time and the record loss and file degradation, they have been inadvertently amalgamated into one person. Or at least that is a popular theory among some historians who look at this era.
I guess you could say it's a theory. A game theory. It was bound to happen eventually.
It was bound to happen.
It might as well happen on the Goliath episode.
Yeah, fair enough.
But, seriously serving for, 90 years in the cockpit is a long run.
I mean, how many years was Kerensky,
Yeah, but
himself?
But Kerensky also had, Star League medical tech.
That's fair. That is fair.
One may never know.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, next up we have Commander Michael Gunshi Alanos? Alanos. Good old Michael was stationed on the planet of Timbiki, which is, of course, known for the manufacturing of beer and spirits. And, of course, it should be of no surprise that the planetary militia has deep ties with the industry of the planet. Michael is actually the vice president of security for Timbiki Spirits, the company that produces Timbiki Dark, the beer famous with the alicorn. It is said that his rebuilding of his personal Goliath could have been fueled by Timbiki Dark itself. Michael would expand the security force of Timbiki to include several modified Goliaths, mirroring his own. He would gain the nickname of Gunshi, or Gunshy, to his enemies during a mercenary contract that lasted very shortly. The Merrick assaults in 3068 drew the militia into action on Timbiki, where they would hold off the invaders for a week, beating back several assaults before negotiating a honorable surrender, because, of course. Unfortunately for Michael, he would pass away in 3071, 8 years before the Alliance would retake the world. I'm not sure which Alliance that's in reference to, though.
I think it's Lyran.
That was my first guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I like the concept that it could have been the Outworlds Alliance somehow.
I mean, Tambiki's on the other side of the Inner Sphere.
Shush.
Of course, sorry. Anyway.
Mad space magic.
Moving into our next pilot.
I mean, the Jarn folk traded with the Hassianic League all the time, right?
I mean, that is true.
I mean, there's no intervening states there, though, so...
Just the clan corridor.
Yeah, but that's not inhabited.
Yeah, I mean, you can jump over that. There's
It's not an inhabited corridor. It's got a couple of outposts, and that's it.
Yeah, very good chance that you can completely miss them and they won't even notice. So.
True, but they do stumble onto each other at one point, and that's when they lose one of their valued house dropships. So, like, it a thing. That did happen. So,
Yeah.
That's true.
It not impossible is point. And also, they have to go a long way.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, Colonel Fiona Yar Cochrane. Colonel Cochrane commanded the 5th Capellan Chargers, better known as Cochrane's Goliaths, basically a unit that was, as Brent had stated earlier, founded from a Star League cache of Goliaths in 2990. She was cunning commander who was basically did not like the fact that the Chancellor, Maximilian Lau, had restrictions on committing heavy units to battle because, battalion of Goliaths, kind of wanted to do Goliath things. She believed her forces' formidable firepower could tip the balance of power in the ongoing conflict with the Federated Sun, so during the fighting on St. Andre and the Fourth Succession War, she committed her entire force, gaining the upper hand against the, I believe this was the Davian Light Guards, and started to kind of kick their teeth in a little bit, but a young Captain Andrew Redburn and his Delta Company of militia troops who had been transferred in from the Kittery Training Battalion basically just did suicidal death from above. One of them happened to be Andrew Redburn. Unfortunately for Colonel Cochrane, Andrew Redburn's, I believe it was a Centurion?
I thought he was a Valkyrie.
Was it a Valkyrie?
Yeah.
I mean, a Centurion doesn't have jump jets, so...
Oh, yeah, so Valkyrie... Yeah, it was a Valkyrie, sorry. And Andrew Redburn's Valkyrie ended up making contact with Colonel Cochrane's cockpit. And, well, she didn't live very long afterwards. Gravity tends to do things like this.
Momentum is a thing.
And momentum is a thing, yeah. Einstein was onto something. No, not Einstein, sorry.
Newton?
Sir Isaac Newton, yeah, thank you. Anyway, basically, once she died, morale crumbled, and the Davian Light Guards and other Davian units on the planet basically just proceeded to annihilate these guys, like, kind of a no survivors, just slaughtered them. So yeah, sad battalion of Goliaths goes into battle, starts taking names, and then some punk militia pilot happens to,
kill the commander.
Clap your battalion commander, and the battalion just crumbles around you. So,
So what you're saying is they failed their moral fortitude roll.
Yeah, they failed their moral fortitude.
Today's episode is brought to you by the word clapped.
Clapped. I mean, I've been using it a lot in the Discord, if you haven't been in there.
Current events.
Current events not needed to be talked about here, but we do have a Discord which we invite everybody to participate in. We enjoy the discourse. We have lots of rooms for everybody to talk about subjects and so forth, and a nice community that is growing, and we'd love to have you. Links will be in the description.
Oh, there we go. See? I am really good at doing these things. And allowing for plugs. Anyway, moving on to our next pilot, because I have the next one too, is Mech Warrior Meto Ashera Bariki? We'll go with that. Basically, he's from Nova Castile, out in the very edge of the periphery. He's a rarity, because very few of these caballeros tend to enter service, tend to appear in the inner sphere. So that's makes him kind of interesting. So basically, he never discussed what brought him to the Illyrian Palpinate in 3057, though it suggested that probably scandals and piracy that got him kicked out of his house and sent on his way. But all that mattered was his commitment to the Palpinate, something that he demonstrated repeatedly in clashes with the Lotharian League, while his vulnerable Goliath, which was rumored to be a prize captured from an unknown periphery force, was far from cutting edge. His skills as a mech warrior earned him the respect of his comrades, and even if they found his mannerisms and attachment to the Goliath unusual. So take that for what you will, but apparently this man really, really loved his mech. So, yeah.
I mean, I've tend to notice that's how quad mechs tend to be treated. People either don't care for them or they're like, oh, quad mechs, they're the best thing ever.
It's an acquired taste where
yes,
if someone likes him, don't worry, they'll tell you that they like him.
Yes. All right. Well, next up we have Force Commander Edgardo Barragstone, whose name could totally be a dwarf from like Warhammer. Barragstone piloted a Goliath with the Orient Fusiliers, namely the 1st Fusiliers, during Operation Bulldog in 3059. The first was decimated on Marshal and would nearly collapse, with many of their officers dead. However, the then Lieutenant Barragstone would rally his company and execute a daring series of attacks to slow the smoke jaguars down. This would buy time for the other Orient Fusiliers to rally. Although he would end up being badly wounded, his actions would allow the Fusiliers to escape the clan troops. His courage earned him the Orient Legion of Merit, bestowed upon him by Duke Christopher Halas himself, while Barragstone would recuperate on Orient. Halas would invite him to join the Ducal Guards, and he would accept, rising to the rank of Force Commander before retiring in 3081 after the Jihad had concluded. So, I mean, dang, he survived the clan invasion and the Jihad. That's kind of impressive. Not a lot of people could say they did that.
True.
And a Merrick, of all things. Well, in Merrick, anyway.
So next up we have Lieutenant Bekempi Oboti, or Oboti? Obot, I guess. I'm not 100% on that one.
Obote.
A pilot of a tall, proud machine should be a tall and proud person, and so it is fitting that he is a Goliath pilot, measuring just shy of 2 meters and having a capital P presence. He is a welcome addition to the Grey Death Legion shortly after the bloody and costly battle on Pandora, handing the Jade Falcons one of their first decisive losses in the Inner Sphere in 3052. While physically imposing, he has a calming nature and has a dry sense of humor. Those traits transfer onto the battlefield as he is an efficient and collected leader for his fire support lance in 2nd Company. His Goliath was destroyed in the Sky Rebellion of 3056 after racking up kills and forcing the surrender of many Sky Rebels. The machine was lost in the Battle of Lochaber Forest, luring many machines to their destruction.
Sky Rebels. Good old the Lyrans. It's one of the few things you could guarantee them to have as a rebellion.
Pretty much.
You know, cue the Willy meme of Sky Rebels. You know, like, oh, you've made an enemy here. Sky Rebels always fighting with the Sky Rebels, fighting with the Lyrans, fighting with the Tamara Compact, fighting with the Terran Hegemony, fighting with the Draconis Combine.
Just made an enemy for life.
But a life is long, and you have many things to do in it. And one thing you hopefully get to do more than once, something you hopefully get to do pretty regularly, is go on a vacation. And one of the top spots to vacation in the Inner Sphere is the subject of today's data dive, the Magistracy of Canopus, Part 1.
Wait, are we being sponsored by the Magistracy of Canopus travel agency this week?
Shut up and just cash the check.
Fair. It's not in C-bills anymore, is it? Those aren't worth the paper they're printed on now.
No, they're all in C-bills now.
No, that's not good.
For C-Fox.
Oh, Fox bills.
Because C-bills to C-bills.
It's Fox bills.
Yeah, but the joke is, yeah.
I know what the joke is, but it's still Fox bills.
Yeah, that's fair. I know, but I'm a punny guy. What can I say?
CGL, major loss on your end. You should have called them Fox bills or C bills, like Brent was saying. Come on, what the heck? There's still time.
So the Magistracy of Canopus is a periphery state that all should be aware of. They are a major player in the periphery, acting as a counterbalance to the Taurian Concordat, and then its constituent parts, and only gaining influence as the sphere shifted around them. It would be completely reasonable for a successor state to consider them a near-peer power instead of a minor power. But where did this state come from? Many know of it, and many look at it in awe, wonder, and exultation. But the Magistracy is known for its freedoms and personal liberties. Drugs are legal and regulated in order to ensure protection of the consumer, and gambling is common. Arts and expression of all kinds are fostered and supported. Both family-friendly and adult-orientated cultural exhibits and works are made. An oversimplification of the Magistracy's ideology is, as long as everyone's consenting and no one's getting hurt, I ain't gonna stop you. But to understand why the Magistracy of Canopus is this way, you must look all the way back to before its founding, and closer to Terra than you would expect. For a woman who would birth this nation, and we start to watch her while she serves in the Free Worlds League militia. Captain Cassandra Centrella served in the Defenders of Aldurian, and during the unit's withdrawal from the Capellan planet of Highspire, invaded during the waning days of the Age of War, due to miscommunications and bureaucratic errors, and as we all know, class, that translates to command incompetence, the captain and her unit were abandoned on planet. After surviving some time and several difficult situations, she and the survivors captured a Capellan dropship posing as traitors and smuggled themselves back into Free World League territory. Now, you may be asking, this Captain Centrella sounds like the stuff of legend. What happened to split her from the Free World League military, when you can assume she had a bright future ahead of her? Well, the brass is what happened. For while she and her unit were hailed as heroes and lauded for their actions taken to return home, many, including the captain, were disheartened when they learned that they had been listed as missing in action, and no plans were initiated to retrieve them, including political or POW exchange. The brass had hoped to have their error simply disappear and be lost to time and the fog of war. And so for the next few years, the captain set out on work of her own. She used and leveraged her fame and notoriety to move and mingle as much as possible, always putting out feelers to see who and what she could make connections with, and to see who also had been disillusioned with the Free World League and its stifling bureaucracy. She was able to initiate contact with other officers, enlisted personnel, and other civilians of note, given her fame and notoriety propelling her into social circles. Soon she had assembled a cabal of over 100 high-placed, quote-unquote, Black Brotherhood members, and when the time was right, they seized several dropships and jump ships, some taken during the defection from the military, some merchants pressed into service, and created a mini-exodus into the periphery where they settled in the Canopus system, proclaiming herself Magistracy and dictating that the title was held for life. She set about settling and securing world's anti-core world of the Free World League. Within the first 20 years, she had alliances or defensive pacts with 35 other planets, making the Magistracy of Canopus one of the fastest-growing periphery states in history. She would enact laws and rules that made the Magistracy of Canopus a matriarchal society and invested much power directly in the hands of the magistrates. Slowly, over the centuries, out of necessity and practicality, the power would be disseminated. But make no mistake that the Magistracy is even to this day the true leader of the realm. I am pronouncing that right?
Yes.
Okay, it feels...
Yep.
Or close enough, anyway.
It's one of those, like, I don't think...
It's one of those words that doesn't really get used.
Yeah. And don't want to be like, I'm accidentally saying dominatrix. Oops. But what kind of culture did this young state hope to foster? What ideals did they hold in their hearts? While we can never truly know, we can look back to the founding documents for examples. And one such example is in the Constitution, for it states that any and all who can prove prosecution or oppression of any recognized form, political, religious, or social, is to be granted full citizenship and to have all their rights and protections being bestowed and granted in perpetuity to all descendants. These rights and freedoms come with the understanding that the Canopian citizens are to add to the common good or defense of the Canopian people. While the strict reading of the law can be made over time, the ways that have been validated or approved for both citizens and citizens to contribute to be qualifying for nobility has been stretched and modified to fit the will and desires of the entrenched power holders. Speaking of nobility, the Canopians are one of the few states that nobility is not generational. This extends all the way up to the Magistracy, and the fact that she cannot nominate her successor. But like any system, she can exert power and influence to tip the odds in her choice's favor. Things like ensuring they have the best connections and training, and that the right people owe them favors. And so naturally, the aristocracy and oligarchs are the same. They ensure that their progeny are accepted into the nobility class, often by utilizing the wealth and power that their families have accumulated over the generations. After all, not everyone's kid can be a Wunderkind. This subsection of the nobility is called the Franes, and they are the old money, if you will. Another nobility faction is the Duraci. They have invested wisely and used their skills to secure noble titles, and then used it as a springboard to start the process that the Farnes started themselves during the Magistracy founding. These families are considered upjump merchants by the Franes, and despite their differences being only when they started to buy into the Canopian system, they are still considered a minor power and looked down upon with derision. And finally, we have the Girin, who are the largest growing faction of the nobility and are a catch-all for individuals who have risen during extraordinary circumstances or have innate skills, abilities, works produced, technological innovations, or military service that has drawn the attention of the state. The nobility are much more numerous, or in fact are actually just citizens with extended rights for commerce. For the main benefits of being a noble are the right to conduct trade with foreign nations or foreign-owned organizations, the ability to nominate or sponsor a proxy for your mandatory military service, the ability to be nominated for governmental or military appointments, and finally the one that would be incredibly problematic if not for the personal liberties DNA baked into the Canopian societal structure, ensuring that it is not abused, and that is the right of any female noble to select her romantic partner without question. Legally speaking, if asked, the male cannot refuse. But again, this is not done in a way that would violate the male's consent unless the woman wishes to face the social ire of all friends, family, and business partners. Also again, the Magistracy of Canopus has one of the highest ratios of nobility to commoners, and with the fact that the title is not intergenerational, that means that the nobility is not never, but definitely at a lower risk of becoming an entrenched and stagnated power system. The nobility can be nominated for the Crimson Council, a governing body who elects the next magistrates when the previous one has died or reached a state in which they can no longer perform the duties of the office. Their appointment is mostly a status symbol, as very few elections have been contested, let alone close. And the social custom is for the members to have an article of clothing trimmed with red-dyed ermine.
Ermine. I don't know.
The ermine, so that's the like weasel or stout fur that is often dyed with like the chevrons or the heraldry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with its founding and solidarity, the Magistracy formed just in time for the Star League to set its eyes on the periphery. Before the Reunification War, the Magistracy had little to no major conflicts, and they were focusing on industrializing and expanding and securing their borders. The fact that its social ethos provided many tourist industries to flourish certainly helped, for at no point in history do the ruling class want to bomb their vacation spot. But sadly, within 40 years of its founding, that is what happened. The SLDF reached out with the Reunification Wars and subjected the periphery to hegemony rule. But the story of the Reunification War and the Magistracy of Canopus is a story for a different day, and it is woven into the tapestry of the rise and fall of the Star League. So for today, class, that is all I will speak about, the periphery nation many of you simp for.
Ooh, got him.
Yeah, called out.
Called out.
I don't think they can ever recover from such a thrashing.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually learned quite a bit about the Magistracy while doing research for this data dive, and I get it. It's a cool nation. There's some stuff that, like I said, could be a little problematic, but overall it's like, you know what?
They've been able to avoid a lot of it.
I wouldn't mind throwing in with them. like just straight up like they kind of straddle that line between libertarian and communist or socialist, I should say. But like in the like weird free market hybridization sort of way, because it Battletech.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to make sense. Just accept it.
I mean, when you've got like augmentations in the periphery that are not on Terra anymore.
True.
And, the periphery is considered the backwire. It's like, wait, what? Scratch head?
That is true.
So our sources for today are Sarna, Battletech Battlemech Manual, Master Unit List, TRON Record Sheets 3039 Unabridged, TRON Record Sheets 3085 Project Phoenix, Ill-Clan Recognition Guide Volume 1, Ill-Clan Recognition Guide Volume 22, and the Periphery Volume 1 and 2, Field Manual Periphery, and Handbook Major Periphery States. This podcast is made possible by our supporters on patreon.com/on the Origin of Battlemechs, link in the description. Our social media on Twitter is at Origin of Mechs. We also have a community Discord, the Armory of Ouroboros, link in the description. You can email us at ontheoriginofbattlemechs@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please leave a review on your platform of consumption, tell your friends about us, and share on your community platform of choice. Special thanks to my friend Laura for the intro and outro. Our Ace Pilot Patreons are John Keith III and Metal Ed. Our Field Marshal Patreon is Stahlkater. Class dismissed. Everybody have a great day.
Stay safe out there.
Have a good one. And New Avalon in the new year.
Module complete. System standby. Would you like to load the next module?
More armor.
We've already talked about the Xanthos.
Yes, that's what I said when we talked about the
Oh,
Xanthos.
I heard when we, not when we'd. My bad.
Yes.
Through the magic of editing,
Anyway.
that will disappear.
Yes.
Will it?
Yes.
But being able to...
But maybe into a stinger.
There you go.
Da-da-da.
He's been lifting.
He has been
Like,
lifting.
the legs are kind of pinner, but the torso looks like it could clap when it walks down the street. No?
Pretty
Okay.
much.
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
Yeah. And then we had...
I don't know if metal can clap, but yes.
Aww.
Yay!
You realize I'm going to sample that, right?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Might as well get you plenty of plenty of
Yeah,
material.
all the
Might
ammunition.
as well give you
Yeah. In for a penny, in for a pound.
Exactly. I'm already doomed. Might as well just dig the hole deeper.
Yeah, you don't realize that me and Chandler are just gonna commit to something once it's realized it's worth
Yeah.
it. It's like, all right, let's just keep going.
To be fair, also, I commit to things because motions to entire podcast.
Different kind of commit.
Are you saying that I am
Not
committable? Anyway.
Wait, I'm saying you're what?
Committable? Like, institutionalized?
I think
Yeah,
everyone's
something.
committable if you look at it the right way.
I don't know, the last 2 years have definitely done something.
Yeah.
But anyway, this...
Exactly.
Or you just start playing the final countdown.
It's the final
Final
countdown.
Before we get a copyright strike, the...
Professionals here.
Copyright strike.
We're going to start off with Mech Warrior Warren Hest... Mech Warrior I can talk. I can absolutely... And thing is, like, my brain's going, like, you know how to say this. It's Angel's name.
What? Whose name?
From X-Men, Warren.
What?
Angel from X-Men.
No, I know who you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
have no clue.
Yeah.
I was never big into X-Men.
He was the pretty millionaire who grew wings and was persecuted as a mutant, even though he looked like a angel and could probably get any time he wanted.
Oh yeah, and then he got the cure or whatever in the movies.
He's often more plot device than character.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that like half the X-Men?
I mean, the X-Men is a soap opera with superpowers.
Pretty much.
I mean, at me, but I'm not wrong.
I'm not disagreeing with
I was
you.
more talking to the listeners.
Oh, well. Come at me, bro.
And don't get me wrong, I love
Please.
it. I love the X-Men, but like it's a soap opera.
Please don't stop listening to us. We love you.
Speaking of X-Men, the Japanese anime X-Men, my god.
All right, let's back on topic. Oh god, let's not talk about that. We watched that last weekend.
It was great.
I claim no responsibility for that.
I don't know how that got started. But it was funny that it continued.
I acknowledge that it
Yeah,
existed, and then someone ran with it.
You expected anything less?
Because it was at the end of the thing, the night. Yeah, I did. I expected it to be like, haha, joke. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Illinois.
Although it's funny in Discord, it's autocorrected it to the state of Illinois.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's the fact that it's a made-up word.
But in the end, aren't all words
I
made
got
up?
really excited. I got really excited when I saw the write-up for this. I was like, I can mispronounce Illinois. I can pronounce it both ways in the same thing and annoy everyone. And then I actually read it, and I was like, oh, it's not. But getting off topic, good old...
Because artists should be compensated for their work.
Everyone should be compensated for the work.
I absolutely agree. But often artists are not properly compensated. So, I am proud that we have been able to commission members of the community to make the lovely art that is in our YouTube. And yeah, having art for the Armor Up show to go on YouTube is something we have been working towards for a little bit and will hopefully be soon happening.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.